I'm gonna catch you up on all of the newest product launches and share what people are saying online, including my own personal hot takes and opinions. So before you add that new thing to your cart, we're gonna talk about it in this week's beauty critiques. In case you didn't have enough lip balms, Laneige has partnered with Baskin & Robbins to create the Rainbow Sherbet Lip Sleeping Mask. It's marbled mixed with the scent of orange, pineapple, and raspberry for $25. And apparently, Laneige has a pretty big fan base, some really die-hard fans, because the comments on Trendmood for this product was actually praising the launch, which is the exact opposite of what I had expected. Someone said, "Damn, didn't need, but now I want." Someone else said, "This is an example of a brand doing what they do well and keeping in their lane, but reinventing and keeping things varied and fresh for their clientele." Y'all, let me hold your hand when I say this. They are selling you an aesthetic that you don't need. And if you're aware of that and okay with that, and you've never bought a Laneige lip balm before, then girly pop. Don't let me stop you. We all need a little bit of joy in our lives, especially right now. But if you're trying to save money, you have too much makeup, I promise you, you will not regret skipping this. I even still have the OG Laneige lip sleeping mask I bought years ago. Is it probably expired? Yes, but since I bought this full-size Laneige lip sleeping mask that I'm not even halfway through, I feel like they've launched 15 new flavors, and I'm not even exaggerating. At the end of the day, they all do the same thing. They might smell different, but they all do the same thing. Then we have a launch from NYX Cosmetics, which has been on my radar lately. This is their Skinfinish Lightstruck Liquid Highlighter. It claims to reflect light and refine the look of skin from every angle, and apparently this formula features an innovative blend of hydrating skincare ingredients, including glycerin and squalane. On top of that, it has skin conditioning coffee seed extract. It's also supposed to deliver 24-hour hydration and 12-hour radiance. You can mix it in with your base as a highlighter or all over for a natural looking glow. It's basically the Say Glowy Drops, but in different shades by NYX Cosmetics. The comments were actually very positive about this launch. Someone said this would look stunning on the body, which I 100% agree with, and I might buy it just for that. And others felt a bit nostalgic, saying that this reminded them of the old Becca backlight primers, if you remember those. I do wonder if this is gonna smell a little bit like coffee because of the coffee extract. Maybe not. There's probably only like a little bit of that in the product. And personally for me, these actually reminded me a lot of the Cover FX drops, which I loved in 2016 and 17, except I feel like this is the more modern version, less glowy, less, what's the word? Less blinding and more natural. So I am kind of intrigued by this and very impressed, especially by the shade options. Like that lavender looks beautiful. But if I am being honest, for those of you who already have the Say Glow Drops and you love them, or if you have anything similar that you already use, I really don't think you're missing out. This is probably going to be the same, if not very similar. The only difference is that this has more skincare vibes in them, but in this case you might as well just use your own skincare and mix it with the Say Glowy Drops. Next we have another launch from NYX Cosmetics. Surprise, surprise, I do not know how much more room Ulta can make for this brand. Aside from that, they are launching their Wonder Snatch, which is a new concealer that comes in 30 shades and retails for $7.99. That's a pretty good price, especially now. It's also described as a buildable formula that blends seamlessly into a matte and full coverage finish. Keep that in mind. It claims to offer up to 24-hour wear and 24-hour hydration. Matte and hydration never go together, but let's move on. Someone on Trendmood said the jump from 29 to 30 is a lot, and the shade match on the model wearing shade 29 is not it. Someone else said, is 3 milliliters right? For reference, Maybelline Fit Me has 6.8, Too Faced Born This Way 13.5, and Shape Tape is 10 milliliters. Now I will say, this might be an upgrade from their Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer, so if you liked that, I feel like this could be for you. But if you are a dry skin person, this is supposed to be matte and full coverage. Okay, they added the word 24-hour hydrating, or the claim, in their marketing, but from my experience, I do not trust the word hydrating in anything that claims to also be matte, because it is going to be more of a drier finish. And I think brands do that because they're trying to market like the skincare benefits in the actual product, but they usually contradict each other when you apply them on your skin, and matte always overpowers any level of hydration this might have. Now, could this be less drying than other matte concealers? Potentially, and I really hope so, but I wouldn't bank on it. Next, YSL has launched the Golden Oasis Couture palette, currently available in Europe. This is a limited edition palette including 3 blushes and 3 highlighters with a velvet soft shimmering powder formula that are buildable and contain nourishing ingredients. Here we go with the skincare ingredients. Someone on Trendbooth said, I think they have such a nice design, and if I'm not mistaken, they were the first one that started the Clutch design palette, but unfortunately their powder products are very comparable to dollar store brands. Even in the pics, you can tell this quality of a dusty and not well milled powder, but their lipstick is the greatest. Now, that was like one negative comment out of the rest of the comments that were very excited about this launch, and someone else did not hesitate to buy it. As always with face palettes, I only recommend them if you feel like you can get use out of most of the colors or even all of the shades, especially when you're buying from a brand like YSL, who is very, very expensive and luxury. YSL also has a very particular way of formulating their powders. I don't know if I would compare it to dollar store powders, but I can see what the person means, because the YSL blushes are a lot more dry and powdery. They're not really creamy, and at least the shade that I have in the YSL blush is sheer and buildable. So I can see some people not liking this, especially for the price. I highly recommend, if you're interested, to check these out in store before buying it. And keep in mind, this is a blush and highlighter palette. I personally do not wear highlighter enough to justify a blush and highlighter palette. So if that is you, then I think you can skip it. Ilia has launched a range of 8 soft focus blurring talc-free powder blushes for $36 each. These blushes claim to diffuse pores and texture with a blurred dimensional finish. Its light filtering powders are supposed to blend and build seamlessly on your skin. The shades available are Glimpse, a mauve rose, Flutter, a warm peach, Breathless, a neutral pink, which I'm very interested in, Pulse, a bright coral, Wonder, a deep terracotta, Closer, a baby pink, Magnetic, a rich berry, and Sensation, a berry rose. Now, this is the one product in the video that I highly, highly will recommend. I bought their holiday palette with what I'm guessing and assuming to be either the same formula or a similar formula, and I love it. It's very similar to the Hourglass formula, except it's not marbled. It's the baked powder formula. Now, my only concern when I got the holiday palette was that the shades were going to be ashy and not pigmented, but just keep in mind that it is very common for baked powder formulas to swatch terribly. They will always look ashy until you apply them on your skin. So give it a chance, because what it looks like in the pan and swatch does not look the same when I apply it on my face. It just gives this really gorgeous soft focus reflect, exactly how the marketing is described, which I don't always agree with. And I did see these shades in person, so I will say the darker shades were actually quite pigmented, at least in my opinion. I can't completely speak for you if you are deeper than me, but I did find that they were a lot more pigmented than I expected to be. If anything, they were more pigmented swatched than the holiday palette. But I am holding back because my biggest critique is that most of the shades that have launched show up warm on my skin tone, and the few muted shades are leaning more on the light side, so they won't work for my skin tone. The only shade that I think would work on me is Breathless. It looks neutral in the pan, but it's actually swatches warm on my skin. So I personally would love to see more medium shades or deeper shades that are also cool leaning and neutral leaning and muted when it actually goes onto the skin. I will also say that I'm sure you have enough blush already, and if you already own something that you love, or you have the Hourglass powders and you appreciate it, or even the Milani or Kosas blushes that are also baked and more marbleized, I don't think you're missing out on this one. I do think a lot of the shades in this launch are very similar to what you can get from other brands, especially if you already have it. And keep in mind, this is a permanent part of their collection, so take time to use what you love right now and wait for the right moment, like a sale, to buy this when it feels good for you. I also believe with a lot of brands, if a product becomes popular, they will launch more shades. So if this lineup of shades aren't right for you, wait. Skip it and wait until your time comes. And in case you missed my last video, Urban Decay is back with another neutral palette, and it's still called Naked, but this time it's naked shaped. Which comes in warm tones and cool tones. These are described as an all-in-one eyeshadow palette that was developed with makeup artists and designed to shape, shade, define, sculpt, and highlight. For $56, you'll get cream, matte, shimmer, and glimmer eyeshadows that deliver a full face application. It claims to be up to 16-hour wear, crease resistant, fade resistant, and transfer resistant. Now, you noticed how they said glimmer and shimmer and not glitter? So far, this is as lackluster as I could have imagined. At least from this one review, it seems like the shades are not giving what we thought this was going to give.
The creams are supposed to be waterproof and long-lasting. They blend out super easily, and you can really build up the color if you're going for a deeper look. Let's try out the mattes. The texture is very smooth, and there's no fallout. I really wish they made the shimmers more interesting. They could have easily sprinkled in a duochrome shade to match the packaging, but nope. I don't have any issue with the formula. They are beautiful shadows, but I already have most of these shades in so many other palettes in my collection. I tried to do a wing with this shade. It looks like a pure black in the pan, but it's more of a dark brown, and I wish it was black. Here's the finished look side by side. Overall, these are beautiful eyeshadow palettes. If you like a more natural look, these are a wonderful option. The quality is there, and I really like the formulas, but I really hope they come up with a more colorful version in the future.
I personally love a good Emotis palette and appreciate that they went for this concept. The shades also seem to have a lot more depth to them than in their old neutral palettes, which I personally think is an improvement, but I really thought that the shimmers were going to convince me into loving it, because Urban Decay is known for Space Cowboy, and for a brand known for this type of formula, charging $56, I really feel like you can do better. Just like you shouldn't settle on a partner, do not settle on a makeup product, because there's always gonna be better. I interrupt this video to let you know that if you haven't watched my video about everything that's happening at Urban Decay, I will link it somewhere around here so that you can catch up on all of it. And if you're a brand with a product or service you think I would love and you're interested in sponsoring a video like this one, then feel free to send me an email down below. Anyways, back to what you came here for. Now, if you're not willing to settle for something mediocre and overpriced, you want some more shimmers and glimmers for cheaper, Cosmic Brushes has released a cool tone palette as well. This is known as their Smoldering palette, retailing for $39 instead of $56. The palette is described as a nod to the 90s and early 2000s with a neutral color story and a wash of color for smoky looks with a twist. You'll get 12 mattes and 8 metallics, 2 are shifting multi-chromes, and 1 duochrome. Now this is what I'm freaking talking about. It's neutral, but it still has a lot of personality to it. It's what I would consider to be like the ideal modern day neutral palette. If we could mix a format of the Urban Decay and the whole sculpt idea with the shades of Cosmic Brushes, I would add it to my cart right now. Then for my body care and perfume lovers, it's a big day for y'all because Rare Beauty has launched their first ever fragrance with accessibility in mind. Would not expect anything less from Miss Selena Gomez, okay? This is called the Rare Eau de Parfum with vanilla and caramel, which actually sounds really good. I was not expecting that this was going to be in my scent palette. It's priced at $75 and the overall fragrance is described as a warm and spicy scent. The top notes are caramel, pistachio, and pink pepper. Heart notes include ginger, cocoa beans, and vanilla. Then it dries down to the base notes of sandalwood, tonka beans, and skin musks. I don't know what skin musk is, but I'm assuming it smells musky. And the star of the show is actually their fragrance layering balms. These are made to be worn on their own or layered with perfume, and they're priced at $19. To me, this kind of just looks like lotion. The formula claims to melt into the skin, last up to 12 hours, and act as a said perfume enhancer. And unlike the perfume, there are a few different scent options to choose from, including amber vanilla, which is a gourmand with keynotes of bergamot, vanilla, and candied amber. Then there's woody oak, an earthy scent with keynotes of patchouli, oak moss, and dry woods. Floral peony is a powdery floral featuring keynotes of freesia, peony, and musk blossom. And then finally, fresh bergamot, which has a citrus and floral vibe with keynotes of bergamot, green tea, and cedarwood. It's funny because I was just on my Sephora app earlier today and this just launched. The perfume didn't sell out, but one of the fragrance layering balms actually sold out. And it tracks because people on Trendmood were very excited about this. Someone said, now this is interesting, a way to customize a scent and accessibility in mind, brilliant. Selena and Rare Beauty might start a trend with these layering balms. And it's also gone crazy viral on TikTok already.
Recommend.
One of the notes in here, I can just smell it. It's vanilla, and I'm a vanilla scent girly through and through, so I do enjoy this.
Rare Beauty's new perfume that was designed with accessibility in mind is honestly revolutionary. Let me show you why. So the typical perfume is meant to be sprayed with your hand on it like this, using one finger to push the sprayer down. Whereas with the Rare Beauty perfume, you can use your entire hand or your wrist, like whatever works easiest for you. The typical perfume bottle is also much taller than the Rare Beauty perfume bottle, which makes it much more difficult to angle towards where you want it to go. Whereas with the Rare Beauty perfume, I can easily get it on my wrist because it's short, so it's at the perfect height to reach my wrist.
This fragrance creator described the scent as a warm hug, which sounds up my alley.
This is good. It's very, it's like a warm hug pistachio, and then I'm getting the chocolate and vanilla with a little bit of that spice. I think the ginger was put in there to kind of cut through a lot of the sweet of the gourmand in this fragrance. Ooh, the musk and the tonka and the sandalwood and the, wow. Okay.
I think it's safe to say that it smells good and now I want it. Do I need it? No. And lastly, we have yet another perfume mist launched by Sol de Janeiro called Sundays in Rio, priced at $26. I don't know if it's just me, but because all of these bottles always look the same in slightly different colors, I feel like I can't tell the difference between a lot of them, especially the names. To me, they all like jumble in my head as the same, but if you're a real Sol de Janeiro fan, you probably can tell the difference. This one has notes of warm vanilla, pink pepper, and amber musk, which this sounds very similar to Rare Beauty. Maybe not with all of the same notes, obviously, but some overlapping notes at least. And unlike the Rare Beauty perfume, there are some mixed opinions on this. Someone complained they should focus on making them last longer, while someone else said, I've smelled it and it's my favorite by far. And then a couple of the fragrance reviewers on TikTok were giving this a very mediocre review because it was a mature scent.
Okay, hold on. It kind of reminds me of Chirosa 40 off the bat. Oh, on the skin it's a little bit different. So it's vanilla and musk. It's almost a little floral. It's a little powdery. Okay, after smelling it for 3 minutes and 12 seconds, it's like a warm powdery vanilla that's not too sweet. The opening is pretty heavy on the amber. As it dries down, you get more of a vanilla musk. Okay, in my personal opinion, it's a good scent, but it's not my favorite Sol de Janeiro scent they've ever made.
Yeah, it's soft, powdery, mature, very light. I think anyone under 16 will be very angry smelling this. I do enjoy this. If you want something a little more grown up and powdery, you'll really enjoy it. Not top 3 podium material, but not in the Kia Asylum. them, so that's nice.
I don't think it is necessarily bad. I don't like the idea of powder, like the powdery scent in a perfume, because I'm not gonna lie, it does remind me of my grandma. But if they are trying to target an older demographic, it would make sense for them to kind of have this scent, especially because most of their popular scents are known by, you know, like the Sephora kids, teens, young adults. Let me know if you have smelt this or even the Rare Beauty perfume and what you think. Which one do you like better? Give us the tea and let us know if it's actually worth it. I will say with the Rare Beauty fragrance layering balms, it just sounds like a fancy way of saying lotion. If I want my perfume to stay on longer, I usually layer it with a lotion so that it can linger longer. But I do wonder if these fragrance balms are more potent than a regular lotion and if the texture is any different. Since it's balmy, it sounds very thick and hydrating. I will not judge a book by its cover until I see it in store, but it's got people talking for sure. I saw an article about how Chanel is also or has also launched fragrance balms, and apparently this is a new thing. I'm surprised we haven't come up with this already, but if Rare Beauty is doing it and Chanel is doing it, I'm sure plenty more brands are gonna follow suit. Those are all the new product launches that I wanted to talk about this week. Now the decision is completely up to you. I have linked my affiliate links where I do earn a commission down below for products I'm specifically most excited about or would recommend. If you do use those links, thank you so much for the love and support. Let me know if you are buying or skipping any of these products. As always, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!